Saat ini, Universitas Nasional memiliki 3 buah kampus, antara lain Kampus Utama Pejaten, Kampus Pusat Laboratorium Bambu Kuning, serta Kampus Menara Universitas Nasional. Terdapat 8 fakultas dengan 24 program studi untuk jenjang S1, 11 program studi untuk jenjang S2, 4 program studi untuk jenjang S3, dan 2 program studi untuk pendidikan profesi. Universitas Nasional telah menerapkan pendidikan berbasis online dengan metode blended learning pada setiap mahasiswa. Setiap mahasiswa yang menempuh pendidikan di Universitas Nasional dapat secara mudah melakukan perkuliahan tanpa harus datang ke kampus. Seiring perkembangan zaman, Universitas Nasional menerapkan sistem pendaftaran untuk mahasiswa baru yang dapat dilakukan secara online melalui website. Untuk dapat mencetak lulusan yang memiliki kemampuan di era revolusi industri 4.0, Universitas Nasional telah banyak memiliki prestasi serta kerjasama antar perguruan tinggi dan beberapa lembaga di tingkat internasional. Universitas Nasional juga memiliki sarana dan prasarana serta laboratorium guna mendukung sivitas akademika agar selalu mengikuti perkembangan zaman. Kegiatan mahasiswa yang ada di Universitas Nasional sangat beragam. Begitu juga dengan prestasi mahasiswa yang diraih dalam ajang tingkat daerah maupun tingkat nasional serta internasional. Hal ini terlihat dari kepercayaan perguruan tinggi dan lembaga asing untuk menjalin kerjasama dengan Universitas Nasional. Melalui pertukaran mahasiswa dan dosen, pemberian beasiswa, penelitian, dan pengabdian kepada masyarakat yang dilakukan bersama, serta meningkatkan kompetitif adventif dengan membentuk kompetensi lulusan Universitas Nasional agar memiliki daya saing yang tinggi dan dapat bersaing dengan lulusan global baik di tingkat nasional maupun internasional. Sebagai wujud kontribusi kepada perusahaan dan mendorong pengimplementasian pembentukan karakter serta pengembangan tenaga kependidikan, Universitas Nasional menerapkan nilai pionir sebagai core value, yakni perseverance, integrity, optimistic, networks, innovation, dan respect and collaboration. Menjadi tempat pendidikan yang dipercaya mulai dari tahun 1949, Universitas Nasional telah berkembang menjadi salah satu universitas swasta terbaik dan smart campus. Berlokasi di Jakarta Selatan menjadikan Universitas Nasional sebagai kampus dengan lokasi yang strategis. Dirintis oleh para pejuang kemerdekaan, pada Disnatalis ke-10, Presiden pertama Republik Indonesia, Bapak Insinyur Soekarno menganugerahkan Universitas Nasional sebagai kampus perjuangan. Dipimpin oleh Sultan Takdir Ali Syabana, Universitas Nasional yang didirikan pada 15 Oktober 1949 turut berdedikasi dalam upaya mencerdaskan bangsa dan pergerakan kemerdekaan. Saat ini, Universitas Nasional memiliki 3 buah kampus, antara lain Kampus Utama Pejaten, Kampus Pusat Laboratorium Bambu Kuning, serta Kampus Menara Universitas Nasional. Terdapat 8 fakultas dengan 24 program studi untuk jenjang S1, 11 program studi untuk jenjang S2, 4 program studi untuk jenjang S3, dan 2 program studi untuk pendidikan profesi. Universitas Nasional telah menerapkan pendidikan berbasis online dengan metode blended learning pada setiap mahasiswa. Setiap mahasiswa yang menempuh pendidikan di Universitas Nasional dapat secara mudah melakukan perkuliahan tanpa harus datang ke kampus. Seiring perkembangan zaman, Universitas Nasional menerapkan sistem pendaftaran untuk mahasiswa baru yang dapat dilakukan secara online melalui website. Untuk dapat mencetak lulusan yang memiliki kemampuan di era revolusi industri 4.0, Universitas Nasional telah banyak memiliki prestasi serta kerjasama antar perguruan tinggi dan beberapa lembaga di tingkat internasional. Universitas Nasional juga memiliki sarana dan prasarana serta laboratorium guna mendukung sivitas akademika agar selalu mengikuti perkembangan zaman. Hal ini terlihat dari kepercayaan perguruan tinggi dan lembaga asing untuk menjalin kerjasama dengan Universitas Nasional. Melalui pertukaran mahasiswa dan dosen, pemberian beasiswa, penelitian, dan pengabdian kepada masyarakat yang dilakukan bersama, serta meningkatkan kompetitif adventif dengan membentuk kompetensi lulusan Universitas Nasional agar memiliki daya saing yang tinggi dan dapat bersaing dengan lulusan global baik di tingkat nasional maupun internasional. Sebagai wujud kontribusi kepada perusahaan dan mendorong pengimplementasian pembentukan karakter serta pengembangan tenaga kependidikan, Universitas Nasional menerapkan nilai pionir sebagai core value, yakni perseverance, integrity, optimistic, networks, innovation, dan respect and collaboration. Nasional yang didirikan pada 15 Oktober 1949 turut berdedikasi dalam upaya mencerdaskan bangsa dan pergerakan kemerdekaan. Saat ini, Universitas Nasional memiliki 3 buah kampus, antara lain Kampus Utama Pejaten, Kampus Pusat Laboratorium Bambu Kuning, serta Kampus Menara Universitas Nasional. Terdapat 8 fakultas dengan 24 program studi untuk jenjang S1, 11 program studi untuk jenjang S2, 4 program studi untuk jenjang S3, dan 2 program studi untuk pendidikan profesi. Universitas Nasional telah menerapkan pendidikan berbasis online dengan metode blended learning pada setiap mahasiswa. Setiap mahasiswa yang menempuh pendidikan di Universitas Nasional dapat secara mudah melakukan perkuliahan tanpa harus datang ke kampus. Seiring perkembangan zaman, Universitas Nasional menerapkan sistem pendaftaran untuk mahasiswa baru yang dapat dilakukan secara online melalui website. Untuk dapat mencetak lulusan yang memiliki kemampuan di era revolusi industri 4.0, Universitas Nasional telah banyak memiliki prestasi serta kerjasama antar perguruan tinggi dan beberapa lembaga di tingkat internasional. Universitas Nasional juga memiliki sarana dan prasarana serta laboratorium guna mendukung sivitas akademika agar selalu mengikuti perkembangan zaman. Kegiatan mahasiswa yang ada di Universitas Nasional sangat beragam. Begitu juga dengan prestasi mahasiswa yang diraih dalam ajang tingkat daerah maupun tingkat nasional serta internasional. Hal ini terlihat dari kepercayaan perguruan tinggi dan lembaga asing untuk menjalin kerjasama dengan Universitas Nasional. Melalui pertukaran mahasiswa dan dosen, pemberian beasiswa, penelitian, dan pengabdian kepada masyarakat yang dilakukan bersama, serta meningkatkan kompetitif adventif dengan membentuk kompetensi lulusan Universitas Nasional agar memiliki daya saing yang tinggi dan dapat bersaing dengan lulusan global baik di tingkat nasional maupun internasional. Sebagai wujud kontribusi kepada perusahaan dan mendorong pengimplementasian pembentukan karakter serta pengembangan tenaga kependidikan, Universitas Nasional menerapkan nilai pionir sebagai core value, yakni perseverance, integrity, optimistic, networks, innovation, dan respect and collaboration.
Vice Rector for Research Community Service and Corporation UNAS. 5. Opening speech by Dean FTKI. 6. Welcome remarks by Conference Chair. 7. Group photo session. 8. Keynote speech 1. 9. Invited speaker 1. 10. Keynote speech 2. 11. Poster presentation. 12. Parallel session 1. 13. Parallel session 2. 14. Closing. The first session is ceremony will begin with traditional Betawi dance, tarian kembang Jakarta by Selaras Budaya. Duduk ya, nanti mereka datang kita duduk.
Kita mundur ya berarti.
audience, please stand to sing Indonesia Raya and Mars Universitas Nasional, Mars FTKI.
Aktivitas akademika FTKI Universitas Nasional membangun komitmen bersama-sama demi kemajuan bangsa. Berjiwa budi pekerti yang luhur, menerapkan ilmu pengetahuan berbasis teknologi komunikasi dan informatika, menjunjung tinggi kejujuran dan azas Universitas Nasional membangun komitmen bersama-sama demi kemajuan bangsa. Berjiwa budi pekerti yang luhur, menerapkan ilmu pengetahuan berbasis teknologi komunikasi dan informatika, menyongsong cakrawala cahaya mentari pagi dengan wajah berseri-seri. Kami pandu Ibu Pertiwi, menyongsong cakrawala cahaya mentari pagi dengan wajah berseri-seri. Kami pandu Ibu Pertiwi. Jayalah FTKI, jayalah FTKI, Universitas Nasional.
Audience, please sit back.
Following this, we will hear the opening address by the Vice Rector for Research Community Service and Cooperation Universitas Nasional, Profesor Dr. Ernawati Sinaga. Please welcome.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi, good morning to all the audience. Selamat pagi pada hari yang sangat berbahagia ini ketika kita mengawali International Conference di bidang informatika. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Dean of the Faculty of Technology and Information, Dr. Agung Triayudi Eskom Mkom. The Chairman of the conference, Ibu Panca Dewi Pamungkasari STMT PhD. Distinguished keynote and invited speakers, esteemed guests, respected colleagues, and all participants. First of all, on behalf of Universitas Nasional, I would like to express my gratitude and warm welcome to all of you to the first International Conference on Emerging Trends in Information System and Informatics, or Icetisi 2025, with the theme for this year, Connected Intelligence, Harnessing Big Data and Smart Informatics. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are witnessing extraordinary developments in the fields of information systems, informatics, artificial intelligence, and big data. Advancements that continually reshape industries, services, and the way societies operate. Technologies such as AI-driven decision systems, advanced data analytics, intelligent application, and digital transformation tools have created new opportunities for innovation, efficiency, and global collaboration. This breakthrough not only strengthen technological progress, but also support long-term sustainable development. At the same time, rapid technological change present important challenges, ranging from data governance, cybersecurity, and ethical consideration to ensuring equitable access and inclusivity. As academicians, researchers, and practitioners, we share the responsibility of ensuring that digital transformation remains aligned with human values, sustainability, and societal well-being. ladies and gentlemen, and all the students, all the participants in this conference. That is why the theme of Icetisi 2025, Connected Intelligence, Harnessing Big Data and Smart Informatics, is very interesting and meaningful in facing today's situation. I believe that throughout this conference, we will engage in insightful discussion, share valuable research findings, and explore innovative strategies that support responsible and sustainable use of AI and big data. I also believe that this conference will also provide a vital platform for strengthening interdisciplinary collaboration and advancing global research networks. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to express my highest appreciation and gratitude to our distinguished keynote and invited speakers who will share their expertise and perspective in this conference. Professor Shinichi Shirakawa, PhD from Yokohama National University, Professor Yifan Cheng, PhD from University of Electronic Science and Technology of China, Denny Yulian STM Eng, CTO at Labs 247, Dr. Chin Fun Jack, PhD, Assistant Professor from University of Southampton, Malaysia. Thank you very much for taking your valuable times to share information and perspective at this conference. And also for the invited speakers, Dr. Sivaraman Eswaran, PhD from Curtin University, Malaysia, Professor Dr. Muhammad Surya Negara, STMSc from Universitas Indonesia, Dr. Fauziah Eskom MMSI dari Universitas Nasional, Dr. Lenin Gopal, PhD from University of Southampton, Malaysia. I thank you very much to all the speakers for your invaluable contribution to this conference. Ladies and gentlemen, I would also like to extend my highest appreciation and gratitude to the organizing committee, chaired by Ibu Pancadewi Pamungkasari, PhD, and to Dr. Agung Triayudi Eskom, the Dean of the Faculty of Communication and Informatic Technology, Universitas Nasional, as well as to all partners, sponsors, reviewers, and volunteers who have worked tirelessly to prepare and support this event. Your dedication and hard work are truly commendable. Finally, to all presenters and participants, both on-site and online, I hope that Icetisi 2025 will be an inspiring, productive, and impactful experience. May this event spark new ideas, foster meaningful collaboration, and contribute to the advancement of science, technology, and innovation. Thank you very much for you all for being here. I wish you all a joy, successful, and enriching conference. May God bless you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you for the opening address, Professor Dr. Icetisi Sinaga. Please come back to your seat. Next, the opening speech by the Dean of the Faculty of Technology and Computer Science, Dr. Agung Triayudi. Please welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, distinguished guests, colleagues, and friends. The Honorable Vice Rector for Cooperation and Research, Professor Ernawati Sinaga, the Chair of the conference, Ibu Dr. Pancadewi, and the distinguished lecturers of Universitas Nasional. On behalf of the Faculty of Communication Technology and Informatics, Universitas Nasional, it's my honor to formally welcome you to the first International Conference on Emerging Trends in Information Systems and Informatics, Icetisi 2025. This inaugural conference affirms our shared commitment to the advancement of scholarship and practices in information systems and informatics. We convene to present rigorous research to consolidate best practices and to chart pathways for responsible innovation grounded in scientific integrity, societal relevance, and sustainable impact. I extend our sincere appreciation to Professor Ernawati Sinaga for leadership and support toward research collaboration and community engagement across our university. I also convey our deepest thanks to our esteemed keynote speakers, Prof. Shirakawa, Prof. Chen, Mr. Denny, Dr. Chin Vanjek, for honoring ICTC 2025 with their presence and expertise. Our gratitude goes as well to the scientific and organizing committees, reviewers, student volunteers, industry partners, and all colleagues whose dedication has enabled today's program. ICTC 2025 is organized to underscore three priorities. 1. Excellence in research, methodological rigor, reproducibility, and clarity of contribution. 2. Ethics and governance, privacy, security, transparency, and accountability by design. 3. Translation to practice, scalable systems that deliver measurable value for institutions and communities. I encourage all participants to engage the sessions with professionalism and collegiality, to observe the conference schedule, and to support one another in upholding the standards of our discipline. With these remarks, I am pleased to declare the conference open. May ICTC 2025 be productive, insightful, and effectful. Welcome to Universitas Nasional. Thank you.
Thank you for the opening speech, Dr. Agung Triayudi. Please come back to your seat. And the last one, welcome remarks by the conference chair, Ms. Panca Dewi Pamungkasari, PhD. Please welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished Vice Rector, Professor Ernawati Sinaga, Honorable University and Faculty Leader, our esteemed keynote and invited speaker, respect guests, participants, and colleagues. Good morning and welcome to the first International Conference on Emerging Technology, Information System and Informatics, ICTI-SAI 2025. It's my privilege for me, to behalf of the organizing committee, to welcome all of you to this first conference. ICTI-SAI 2025 bring together research, practitioners, and industry professionals from around the world to share insight and discussion breakthroughs in information system and emerging technology. This year's theme, Transformation, AI, and Big Data for Sustainable Technology Advancement, reflect our commitment to address how intelligent systems and large-scale data analytics can drive long-term responsibility and exclusive technology projects. We choose the theme because AI and big data are no longer merely tools for innovation. They have become transformation force and shape decision making, enhance efficiency, and support sustainability across various sectors. Through this theme, we hope to encourage discussion and how emerging technology can harness not only for development, but also for creating solutions and are ethical, impactful, and sustainability. We are proud of organize this conference in collaboration with IEEE. This year, we received significant number of the submission through comprehensive review process. 130 papers were accepted from more than 14 countries, reflecting strong international participation and academic contribution. We extend sincere appreciate to our sponsor, PT Solusi 247, PT Kohesif, PT Paiman Jaya Utama, and PT Integrasia for available support. Our gratitude also to Vice Rector Professor Ernawati Sinaga for the present, as well as the university and faculty leader for the continued support. Our keynote speaker, invited speaker, thank you for sharing your expertise. All to our author, reviewer, and participant. We greatly appreciate your commitment and contribution to the success of the Icetisi 2025. We hope the conference foster academic exchange, collaboration, and strengthening of our global research community. Thank you for joining us. I wish you productive and inspiring conference. Welcome to Icetisi 2025.
Thank you for the remarks, Miss Panca Dewi Pamungkasari, PhD. Please come back to your seat. We respectfully invite all VIP guests, keynote speaker, invited speaker, moderators to proceed to the stage for the official group photograph. Please follow the instruction provided by the organizing committee to ensure an orderly arrangement. Untuk peserta dimohon untuk berdiri. Iya.
Check.
We will continue with keynote speech 1, Dr. Shin Funjek, PhD. The session will be moderated by Professor Dr. Muhammad Surya Negara. Please welcome.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning, everybody. Welcome to this very first session, keynote speech in this Icetisi conference. So I am Muhammad Surya Negara. I'm going to be your moderator for this first session. And this session, we are going to have a keynote speech by Dr. Jack. We called it Dr. Wait a minute, this is my CV. So I should read your CV first. This one. Yes. Okay. In this Icetisi conference, we are very honored to have a first speaker, Dr. Chin Fun Jack. So we can call him Dr. Jack or Dr. Chin. So he comes from Malaysia, and I read his short CV. Okay. Dr. Chin or Dr. Jack is an assistant professor in the field of electrical and electronic engineering at the University of Southampton, Malaysia. And his research interest, he's working on the specialization in solar PV reliability, fault diagnostic, and he has contributed major advancement in PV modeling, accuracy, degradation analysis, and OEM strategies. So he earned PhD from University of Technology Malaysia, and Bachelor of Engineering from the University Tun Hussein on Malaysia. His professional experience, at the moment he is the assistant professor in University of Southampton, Malaysia, and also editorial and reviewer in the leading journal IEEE Access, Applied Energy, and other leading journal. So his teaching expertise in the control system, renewable energy system, PV diagnostic, and power engineering. So today, he's going to give a talk with the title of AI for Reliable Solar Next Generation Fault Diagnosis with Semi-Supervised IV Curve Intelligence. So without further ado, I invite Dr. Chin to come to the stage. Please. Okay, Dr. Chin, this is the time is yours.
All right,
Okay.
thank you very much.
So, you know, actually, usually every time the opening session in Indonesia, there is kind of a common habit that for citing the pantun.
see.
Yes, but I don't prepare the pantun today, but luckily we have ChatGPT. You know, the AI, huh? So with the ChatGPT, we can easily ask them for making the short pantun.
Let's try.
Let's
Do
try.
you have one?
Okay. Oh,
Wow.
let's see. Let's choose which one.
Try.
Okay. Oke. Merah saga di ranting tinggi. Nampak indah dipandang mata.
Cakep.
Ilmu dibawa ke Icetisi.
Cakep.
Bersua di sini menambah makna.
That's so beautiful.
Yes. The credit not going for me, but for ChatGPT. Okay. Okay. Please. Time is yours.
Thank you. All right. Thank you very much, Prof. Shuya, for the kind introduction. So, good morning, everyone. Before I begin, I'd like to thank the organizing committee for the invitation and also all of the participants who are being here today. Okay, so today, as you can see here, I would like to talk about solar PV, but from the perspective of how AI is making solar PV reliability possible, especially for large-scale deployment. Okay, so solar PV, as you know, are being deployed everywhere. Okay, with every panel, every inverter, every sensors. Okay, these data are being generated. So nowadays, to maintain solar PV system, it's no longer just an engineering problem, it's also a machine learning problem. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. Next. Okay, first of all, I'd like to begin my speech with a question. How many solar panels do you think are being installed every day? Sorry, every minute throughout the world on average? Any guess? Is it 100, 200, or 500? Okay, none of that. Every day, about 3,000 every minute, about 3,000 panels are being installed, okay, as we talk. So this is quite an astounding amount of panels. And 3,000 panels are actually enough to power about 200 households, right? If you think about this scale, this is something is very difficult to imagine at the moment, but this is actually what's happening currently. So if we are aware of that, whether or not you are in the energy sector, this is something to pay attention to. Okay, next. Okay, so why is it so widespread? First of all, okay, compared to the last decade, solar PV module prices has dropped by about 90%. Okay, same with the other component within a PV systems, for example, inverter, balance of systems, the installation cost has dropped significantly. So compared to ever, solar PV is cheaper than ever. In fact, solar now provides the cheapest electricity in most countries. What do we mean by that? This was established in year 2020. So this is, do you know about this? What this basically means is that it's actually cheaper to build and run a solar PV plant than to build and run any kind of energy power plant. At the moment, it's cheaper to build and run a solar PV farm than any kind of power generation plant. Okay, and as you can see here, in the year 2023, about 450 gigawatts of solar PV capacity has been installed worldwide. And in this year, that number has gone up to 550 gigawatts even. Okay, sorry, next. Okay, this trend will continue to be so due to many factors. For example, our population is growing rapidly. And as you can see, with urbanization, with the establishment of new data centers and use of EVs, our demand for electricity is actually greater than ever as well. And solar PV is actually one of few scalable options to meet this surge. Okay, if you look at this graph over here, by projection, the electricity consumption of data center is estimated to double in about 5 years' time. Yeah, so this is, if you are in the informatics or in the engineering sector, solar PV is something to pay attention to, especially in the Southeast Asia region. Okay, next. Why do I say so? Because if you look at all the available renewable energy, solar PV, the potential of solar PV is actually the highest. Okay, even for Indonesia, Malaysia, especially Indonesia, you can see about 3,000 gigawatt worth of solar PV energy remains untapped. Yeah, so for quick and cheap electricity generation, PV is the way to go. So as of today, about 20 gigahertz of solar PV capacity has been installed and is projected to surpass 100 gigahertz in 5 years' time. That's a 5-fold increase. Okay, so how do we bring AI into the picture? Now, with this large growth in solar PV, there comes a problem. Okay, next slide. Okay, as fast as solar PV are being deployed in the outdoors, from day one, these solar panels actually start to degrade, be it from the moisture exposure, high operating temperature, thermal cycling, environmental contaminants, and UV exposure. Okay, this panel actually has small problems due to these elements, outdoor exposure of elements. So this causes micro crack, okay, defects in the crystal, and even delamination in the PV module itself. So next, please. So, okay, next. Especially in Southeast Asia, where the humidity is high and temperature is equally high, with the sea breeze that carries a lot of salt spray. So PV panel in the Southeast Asia actually degrade about 2 times faster compared to Western countries. In Western countries, the standard test conditions that is being used to characterize the degradation of solar PV is actually known as the standard test condition. So the problem is that if these kind of problems are left undetected, it actually causes significant amount of losses in terms of revenue. So this is very dangerous, as I've shown there. The losses are actually very silent and slowly growing in the solar PV panel, and they are undetectable by SCADA. SCADA is actually a supervisory monitoring system used in the industry to monitor the performance of solar PV. Okay, next. Oh yeah, by the way, can we look at the previous slide for a while? Previous slide, please. Okay, just something I want to show here is that if you look at this plot, solar PV by industry standard is expected to produce, maintain about 85% of its original efficiency within about 25 years. That's when its warranty is due. Yeah. But due to this high exposure to the elements outside, the degradation usually happens much quicker. Okay, let's move on. Next. Okay, what's the issue now? Is that in the industry, the current O&M practices, O&M stands for operating and maintenance practices. They are rather outdated. Why? Because most of these checking are done manually. In that, only when there is issue, we'll start to investigate what's the issue. So the approach is reactive rather than proactive. Another thing is, as I've mentioned, manual measurements are needed. So, okay, these tasks are actually manual, labor intensive and inconsistent. So it's not only that you have to spend time and money to hire technician to check the installation, but at the same time you are experiencing significant loss in profit, okay, due to degradation of the plant. Okay, and lastly, most of these fault detection and diagnosis approach are based on visual inspection and scheduled cleaning rather than data-driven diagnosis. So the issue with that is we are not making use of the data that is available in the PV system. Okay, I'll show you quickly what I mean by that later on. So definitely, this is not sustainable for gigawatt fleets. Okay, that's about to come very soon. Okay, so any one of you involved in research, I think this is a very hot area to go into. Okay, next. Okay, so why it matters now? That's because if you have paid attention to modern solar PV system, you'll find that the modern solar PV inverters are actually smart, okay? They are equipped with built-in, okay, IV curve tracer. Okay, I'll explain about that when we look into the details later. Okay, they are also complete with IoT system setup. Okay, and modern companies actually use drone imagery and thermal scans, okay, periodically to study how the solar PV system degrade over time. All this information are actually very valuable for us to gain better understanding into the reliability of solar PV system. Now, aside from that, okay, I'm sure you are very familiar with this. Deep and semi-supervised learning algorithm are getting more and more advanced. Okay, in this sense, why is semi-supervised learning highlighted? That's because, okay, real fault data are actually very hard to come by and they are very expensive. So to have semi-supervised learning, which allow you to train a model with the least number of initial data, they are actually more suitable for this kind of study, especially in the early phase. Okay, and lastly, with the advancements of technology, especially in edge computing, okay, solar PV inverters are now actually, some are capable of machine learning algorithm. Okay, so before we move into the details, let us learn, I'll quickly go through this part. Okay, won't go too much into the details, but if you are interested in this, you can always look for me later. So, what kind of faults are there in solar PV system? Here we talk about a few common ones. First of all, as you know, solar PV panels are connected in string setup. We call this series parallel configuration. So the most common type of error in the form of line to line and line to ground fault. So in simple term, it happens when current carrying conductor either touch each other or several local peaks instead of one maximum power output. So this causes an issue when it comes to the maximum power point tracker, where the operating point will get stuck at the local maximum, where the maximum output cannot be produced. Yeah. Okay, next. The fourth kind of problem is in open circuit fault. As you can imagine, as its name suggests, when there is some kind of disconnection in a PV array, there's a disconnection. We call that an open circuit fault. Okay, it can be caused by loose connector, broken cables, or poor solder joints. Okay, naturally, the impact of that is that no current will flow through, and in the graph at the top there, you can see that significant loss in current is resulted. Okay, and the last kind of fault that I'd like to talk about is self-degradation. This is actually due to, okay, as we mentioned earlier, as delamination and component age. For example, if the module start to yellow, start to brown, okay, the output of each solar cell will actually start to reduce. Okay, this is what we call self-degradation, and naturally, this is will cause gradual loss in power output. Yeah, and in solar PV model, if you are familiar with that, that is represented in increase in series resistance. Okay, knowing all these faults, there are many ways to detect them. Okay, let us look at what kind of methods are there. Okay, next slide. Okay, the type of methods available to detect the kind of faults that we just talked about. Here I have divided them into two types: non-electrical methods and electrical methods. Okay, first we look at non-electrical method. Those are the methods that are commonly used nowadays. Yeah? So non-electrical method include normal visual inspection. That means you go to the site and look at the PV panel with your naked eye to see if anything is wrong. The second method is infrared thermography, which is to use thermal image camera to capture, see whether there is hotspot, okay, such as what you see in the figure there. Okay, last one is electroluminescence imaging. So this kind of method has all the attributes that I just mentioned, which is that they are reactive, and these only are done at maintenance intervals. So if losses occur, you wouldn't know, okay, you wouldn't know it in time. Okay, by the way, these kind of images are usually captured using drone, yeah? So although it's good, we can maintain large PV installation that way, still it's not exactly instantaneous and timely. Okay, next we'll talk about electrical method. Okay, next slide. Okay. Now, electrical methods are much more practical in this sense, in that all detection are instantaneous. Okay, the most simplest kind of electrical method is in the form of current and voltage measurements. This kind of method detects the operating point of the PV system, okay, and just at the output terminal, voltage and currents are being measured, and how the maximum power point behave over time are being analyzed, and that actually gives some information of whether the PV system is healthy or not, right? Okay, but this kind of method is actually quite limited in terms of the type of fault that can be detected. Usually, only severe fault will show some abnormality, okay, at the output side of the array. Okay, next one. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, another kind Another kind of electrical method is to just look at the output production, power yield of the PV system, okay, and compare that to satellite images. Compare that to the irradiance and temperature expected at that location. Okay, then we compare what is the estimated power output given a system configuration and that of the measured power output. So if there is significant difference, then alert will be sent to the solar PV system owner to check the system. So again, as you can imagine, this kind of method is quite limited in that you are only interested in the solar PV power output. So okay, not exactly the best method, but it has been useful for the past few decades. Okay, next. Okay, the last one before we go to IV curve analysis is this method which I categorize under statistical and signal processing. So this kind of method, if you have heard of time domain reflectometry, this kind of method actually involves shutting down the whole PV system and send in a pulse of electrical signal into the PV array and look at the reflected waveform. Yeah? For example, if the delay is long, we will know that the fault is actually far away from the output terminal. Okay, and depending on what kind of waveform is being reflected back, we can tell if there is some kind of disconnection or loose joint within the PV array. Okay, but the problem with this method is that it's time consuming and you have to shut down the entire PV system just to do this test. Okay, next. Okay, now to the main topic is that the most advanced kind of fault detection and diagnosis system for a PV array nowadays are based on IV curve analysis, which is to mean that for a PV array, if you scan the voltage from 0 to a high level, okay, and plot out each current at each voltage point and plot curve such as what you see here, you can actually obtain a profile of the PV array output. These are actually like a fingerprint, okay, to the PV system, which means that why? Because each PV panel actually has certain amount of defect and tolerances. So by looking at this profile, we can quickly see what's actually the health status of the PV system. And not only that, okay, we can actually know a lot more. But the problem with this kind of method is that it's actually quite complicated. Why? As you can see in the figures on the top right corner, the IV curve actually changes with irradiance and temperature. Aside from that, okay, each kind of fault actually present, okay, on the lower figures, different kind of profiles. So it is actually up to the experts or the system to look at this kind of profile and identify accurately what kind of faults are actually present in the system. So aside from these two considerations, IV curve profile are also non-linear in the fact that mathematically it's not easy to analyze. Okay, so this is where machine learning would be useful. Okay, next slide. Okay, let's see if we take some features of the IV characteristics. For example, if we take the inflection point, which is the point at which the curve, gradient of the curve start to change, and the open circuit point, maximum power point, short circuit point, actually we can just extract this information onto different extent of changes for each of these features as shown in this table. Okay, if you are interested, this is a recently published paper. Okay, feel free to look at my profile, you can access this. Okay, next. Okay, although that is useful and is established, the issue here is that the fault that we just discussed about rarely happen on its own. It usually happen in conjunction with another fault. So that is what we call concurrent fault. Concurrent meaning happening at the same time, simultaneously. So, okay, when a few faults happen at the same time, the IV characteristic becomes much more complicated and is harder to diagnose. So, for concurrent fault, the IV characteristics start to overlap, and many faults actually have a lot of similarity, and the existing work in the literature only handle a few kind of concurrent fault due to its complexity. So any one of you going into research, especially in the energy sector, this is the hot topic now, yeah? Okay, next. Okay, in our recent publication, okay, we attempted to differentiate between concurrent faults that are easy to identify and concurrent faults that are difficult to identify. So we found that this kind of fault listed here are actually easier for the machine learning algorithm to identify. Why? Because as you can see, the electrical features of this curve, although they look somewhat similar, they still have distinguishable features from each other. So in this way, these are the faults that can usually be identified with high accuracy. Okay, next slide. Whereas these three faults are actually problematic. Why? If you look at the graph, the figures plotted here, you can see that some of these faults have actually identical IV characteristics. Yeah, so these actually cause issue. Okay, when we try to know what kind of fault is happening at the same time, and if the machine learning algorithm is not advanced enough, actually we cannot even tell what is going on. Okay, next. Okay, to further enforce our findings, we use a TSNE visualization based on those figures. What you can see from here is that, okay, each of those numbers are a concurrent fault. What you can see from here is that many of these faults are clustered together rather closely. What does that tell you? This tells us that faults that are clustered together are very difficult to tell apart from one another. And definitely traditional rule-based method would actually fail because overlapping fault signatures are actually nearly indistinguishable as shown here. Yeah? So in this, on this front, it's clear that machine learning has to be implemented to effectively separate or classify complex multi-fault patterns. Okay, so basically what TSNE algorithm does is separate this fault, into view this fault in higher dimension and find the dimension that can best separate all these features and present it to us in the form that is easily interpretable in 3D view, as shown here. So just to recap, faults that are clumped up together, clustered together, are actually harder to tell apart in real life. Okay, next. Okay, so just to share our recent work, what we have done is to apply a large number of machine learning algorithm, both supervised and semi-supervised. Okay, if you are familiar with machine learning method, supervised method actually use fully labeled data set, whereas semi-supervised method actually use, okay, only about 10-20% labeled data set, whereas the rest are unlabeled. So we run it through, we simulated this, okay, PV array at a large range of operating environment for many different kind of faults, okay, and introduce a new feature selection method known as ConMe, okay, which we'll discuss about later, and run that through, okay, hyperparameter optimization using randomized search cross validation. Okay, with that, we try to see which machine learning algorithm perform the best. Now, the main question here is that why did we introduce ConMe? The purpose of ConMe here is that because concurrent fault, as you can see previously, has so many combinations, up to 27. As such, the problem is actually become unmanageable if we do not trim down the number of features that we put into the system. So ConMe is actually a very recent feature selection method that effectively finds the best features to be used to classify, okay, this kind of fault. Okay, next slide. Okay, let's see what ConMe is about. Okay, why do we select 6? It's because if we look at this plot, 6 features are actually the most optimized choice with a